All right, moving on to item 4, our general consent items. I believe we have public comment for this item.
Yes, we do. Patty Kay, Emily Wichman, and Graham Frazier will be speaking on item 4G, ratification of warrant list.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, this definitely impacts the budget, and I would suggest strongly that you could save probably close to $1 million if you would eliminate the money on the warrant list spent for EPIC education as well as Panorama. This warrant list, it was 90,000. I think previously Panorama was 92,000. And these are simply measures of your efficiency of implementing diversity, education, equity, and inclusion. And also, if you were to eliminate that position, you would also save close to $500,000. And all that money, nearly $1 million, could be directed to assisting students learn. Okay, I have a radical idea, and that would be, why don't you reintroduce God into the curriculum, and then you could stop all this nonsense. And excuse me.
Situation in a year and a half.
Excuse me. If you would introduce God into the curriculum, since you've taken it out, then you could stop all this nonsense about this diversity, because God already teaches that, and you would save, in this instance, almost $1 million. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Our next speaker is, I have Graham Frazier. Good evening, Graham.
Maybe Emily Wichman can go.
Okay, Emily?
If he's not ready.
Sure, I can go. Can you hear me?
Yes, Emily. Good evening.
Oh, good evening. I'm referring to purchase order, and this is in the ratification warrant list 4G, the purchase order 22994, Epic Education, Inc. I wanted information on this money-making social emotional learning corporation that we're spending $90,000 for an equity and audit of our students. On June 29th, I received a copy of the OUSD Equity and Cultural Proficiency presentation given to the board in June. On October the 2nd board meeting, I asked to have a meeting with Dr. Sparks about the presentation. On the 29th, I met with Dr. Sparks at the time. I asked for a copy of the material presented to the board. On November 2nd, I asked again for the materials. On November 10th, I was directed by Dr. Sparks to submit a public records request in writing for the specific material. I did on November 18th with the help from the Californians for Equal Rights Foundation to your business services. On the 29th, I received a letter from your Human Resources Office with 2.5 pages of legalese ending with, I would get the information requested on or about December 28th. Here it is, the January 18th, and nothing. I want to bring this up to the board to deter any legal actions against the districts for its non-compliance for a written request for records from the OUSD pursuant to the California Public Acts record. I contacted your lawyer, Peter Fagan, and told him how disappointed I was with the district's lack of transparency. Amid all the talk and the effort and time going into equity, diversion, and inclusion, it's apparently without the umbrella of transparency. I worked with Todd McAteer, Superintendent of Human Resources, and I have found him to be efficacious in all his dealings with the district. Could it be that 2 offices are involved and someone dropped the ball? Please let me know your next steps so I can prepare mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. And our next speaker is Graham Frazier. Good evening, Graham.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
No, I'm sorry, I couldn't find the mute button. This is a very small item, actually, on item 4.0. I'm curious about the return on equity of the spending of $5,500 to these two employees to go to the conference on the impact aid item. What has been the track record of return on investment for people going to those conferences, and how much has the district benefited from going to those conferences? And what is a lot of questions? What is the proportion of the budget? Has that helped the district's budget in the past very much? I'm just concerned about these relatively small. This may be a big item, but it may not be. I'm concerned about the way the staff is spending things on what I call inherently divisive concepts embedded in DEI efforts. There's taking away from funds from basic education and why the district is in a deficit budget while failing to educate the kids, the primary mission of the district. So help me out with that if you can, or maybe have someone call me and understand that. That's all.
Thank you, Graham. All right, is that all we have, Anne, on?
Just put up with it, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes. Ms. Witchman, I think you might need to mute yourself.
All right. So general consent items. Do I have a motion to approve? Any questions for Dr. Norman? All right. Let's call up our public comments. I believe we have
Mr. Graham Frazier.
Hello.
Hello, Graham.
Hi there. Maybe I've got some good news for you. Before you approve the sale of the 3 acres for the pumping station for the pipeline right of way, the district should only sell easement rights. I believe should only sell easement rights for the pipeline portion and not sell it in fee. This easement encumbered land could then be incorporated into the larger remainder parcel for a higher total return to the district. So I think that why sell it in fee just in the easement? There's a lot of land in that easement, because I think if you keep it with the larger parcel, you'll get more money. So if that has been considered, I'd say go ahead. If it has not, I'd sort of put it on the back burner until your engineers or your right-of-way people or whatever examine that pretty important point. That's it.
Thank you, Graham.
I speak as a civil engineer and a prior engineer for the district as well. So it's just a little freebie.
Thank you. All right. So do we have any questions for staff?
Just to confirm that we did a wide range of considerations for the property, both together as one parcel and split, and all the other options too.
We did. We considered different options.
And we will be.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Andy.
Oh, no, I was just summarizing that, yes, we did look at different options, and we looked at how we can, when the city expressed interest, how we can work with the city, and then also work with the developer and have all of us work together to have this agreement be successful. Trustee Blessing?
Yeah, no, I was just going to add in there that the cooperative agreement between the city and the proposed developer on that site will also deal with, or anticipating deal with, the issues of design and use of the potential use or landscape of the easement area, as well as the pump station, as well as the lift station as well. So all of that is part of that consideration, so that the parcel can be best utilized.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
The first and a second. Any more questions or comments, colleagues? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving item 7C, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving on to item 8A, the approval of the continuation of electronic virtual board meetings through the month of February 2022. We actually have public comment on this as well.
Brad Tobias.
Hello, Brad.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I was trying to get connected on this. So thank you for the time and everything that y'all do for our district. But I just wanted to simply just ask a few questions regarding this Zoom platform. First one being, what is the actual reasoning for the Zoom only meetings? And also, I'm assuming that it's because of health concerns. However, I just want to go ahead and throw out a few tidbits here for this. Checking today, the California COVID website, numbers are going down in almost all metrics. Here in San Diego County. Also, there's a great deal of places that are actually meeting in person. Places like the California Assembly, Oceanside City Counciling, and gatherings have been all over, such as downtown markets, movie theaters. Even at the last board meeting, it was being mentioned that exclusively you, Ms. Evans, were boasting about being at a large event for LGBTQ plus that had large numbers, and I mean, if they're able to meet up, I think it's not without question that that we can't do in-house, in-person meetings out there at Chavez Middle School. The reason I say this is because Zoom is inefficient. There are technical difficulties. These presentations that are given are hard to view, and these are things that even you board members experienced just tonight. So it another assumption is maybe is this about control and comfort. Control being that our mics can be cut off at any time. To the point where we're not able to voice our opinion. In comfort by simply just being at our home. Mike Blessing, I see that you're in your home right now, and everybody else has the background going on. It's also Mike Blessing. You mentioned last specifically, and I quote at the last meeting, "I don't want to be in a room with a bunch of angry parents." I don't feel like that's a good enough reason. As an elected officials, you deserve to be in front of us. Lastly, I just want to suggest a hybrid method. You could do the in-person and the Zoom. Also, put these back on a KOCT YouTube page. Let them stream them for multiple or not multiple, but mass presentation. And with that, I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. All right, our 5 minutes break. Thanks for your patience, everyone. All right, we have item 9, public comments on non-agenda items. The Board of Education is happy to receive comments. Just a little reminder that we are going to keep them to 3 minutes, and you will see a timer on the screen. That's all I have. I recognize a lot of the names on here, so We're good to go. Anne, would you like to call them up?
Yes. And they will be in this order: Brad Tobias, Todd Madison, Rosie Higuera, Susan Custer, Emily Richmond, Katie Taylor, and Graham Frazier. And I'll come back after Rosie speaks to call the other ones again.
Okay, thank you. So let's go ahead and start with Brad.
Hey, everybody. It's good to see you again. Has my time started?
Yeah, it just started.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna be real quick. I got a lot to cover here. Firstly, I just want to go ahead and recommend that CRT or ethnic studies be placed under review. Reason being, there's really no, as studies have gone on and it's been in the media and everything like that. There's not a whole lot of a lot of long-term benefit to it. The short-term benefit is maybe a little bit of political capital. Other than that, long-term, it will divide communities, schools. It will badly impact the community, and will be a poison for Oceanside. As far as economic development and everything else like that. Which brings me to my next point on the curriculum for ethnic studies. By law, 20 U.S. Code 1232H, or Protection of Pupil Rights, Section A, it states, all instructional materials shall be available to parents, guardians, and students. Everything I've viewed on the websites for the schools, for the high schools at least, all it does is give you like a simple, well-crafted statement with no info, i.e. books, supplemental materials, teacher items, or anything like that. Therefore, I again making a recommendation that material be available for the students. I mean, for the students, for the parents, guardians, and just the community as a whole. Give that give us that transparency that we deserve. And my last point is violence around the schools. Last semester, there was 3 acts of violence on Michigan Avenue by Oceanside High School. I know that it's not part of the jurisdiction for like the oceans for OUSD security and all that. I know that's more of an Oceanside PD problem or not problem, but issue. But I just want to know what the school board has taken, what measures the school board has taken to curb this. I believe that there could be things done, and I think regardless on what our views are politically, the safety of the children is paramount, and the safety of the students is number one. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Brad. Our next speaker is Todd Madison. Hi, Todd.
Hi, thanks for having me. So tonight, I'd like to talk about the incredible importance to our kids of having a board that actually puts their interests first. As parents, I think we would all agree there's nothing more important to us than our kids, and getting them ready to be happy, successful adults requires both good parenting and a good education to build on. My kids attended Oceanside Unified Schools end to end. They got a great education from some wonderful teachers. My wife and I know a lot of great teachers, support staff, principals, and administrators, the best of people. But like any organization, the district needs to have a clear direction and management guidance to make it all work together, particularly management willing to make difficult decisions when needed. They also need to make sure they're paying attention to the needs of their customers, and particularly those who have to represent those customers actually do that. That's what's wrong with Oceanside Unified. So much potential, but squandered by a board that simply will not consider putting kids' interests first. We've seen that over and over again in the last couple of years. How many 5-0 votes have we seen in support of virtually anything any special interest asks for, except for what parents ask for, right? If you now recognize this, if you're a person who sees problems and fixes them, how about helping fix this one? How would you like to run for school board this year? Next year is an election year. It's time for parents to step up and take control of our board to make it work for kids, not for special interests. Districts 1, 3, and 4 are up for election. New maps were shown in this meeting. If you're listening to this, you care about the education of our kids. If you live in any of those areas, you owe it to those kids to step up and run. I'm a co-director of the Oceanside Parent Association, and the Parent Association is planning on doing what it can to support Kids First candidates in the next election. If you'd like to discuss what running for board is all about, email us. The email address is oceanside.usd@parentassociation.net. That's oceanside.usd@parentassociation.net. And lastly, we all know that school choice is the real solution. Real power comes when parents can simply choose a different school if their board, their district, or their union are putting themselves first, not our kids. We need signatures on our petition to get it on the ballot. We're doing great so far, but we've got a big job ahead of us. Join us to help that by going to californiaschoolchoice.org and signing up to help, then getting out and getting signatures for the effort. That's californiaschoolchoice.org. Let's take back our education system and make it work for our kids, not for the special interests for a change. Run for board, get signatures for the petition. Thank you very much.
All right. Our next speaker is Rosie Higuera.
Yes, hi. In listening to the meeting, it seems like the board was not very informed about the boundaries that are going to take place with our district. There was a lot of confusion, it seemed like, and even though those maps have been out for at least a month, I think that you guys should have been well versed in all of that. Also, it looks like there's a lot of spending, unnecessary spending on furniture that we don't need for our kids, millions of dollars on furniture that you guys haven't even looked at. It seems like there's a lot of spending for equity, inclusion, diversity, for salaried staff that are working on this curriculum as well. I don't know if you have seen the recent census in Oceanside, but according to the census, our population majority is white, 46.8%, and our next category is Hispanic people, 36.2%, which is a huge population. And it doesn't seem like you're really in touch with the needs of the Latino families. Latino families are predominantly conservative. We are for families. We are for marriage between one man and one woman. Family is the bedrock of society for us, and we believe the nation as well. We love what they're doing in Virginia with our new the new governor there, Youngkin, how he's taking a stand, and he's doing executive orders that are actually benefiting families for the protection of families and children. Not like the Oceanside Unified is doing with our students and our curriculum. The superintendent is showing executive orders that is reviewing all the policies for the Department of Education to identify those curriculums that promote inherently divisive concepts, and such policies are going to be ended. And so he's instituting superintendents and boards that are actually fighting for families, not introducing curriculum that is divisive and that is hateful and that is racist. And so it looks like we need, it looks like Eric Joyce, Eleanor Evans, and Dr. Vitale, you guys have all made it very clear that your agenda is LGBTQ and you're not promoting families. You are catering to a very small minority of the population, and you're introducing this into the curriculum, and it's something that's totally divisive and unnecessary. We actually need to teach history and civics and math and things that will prepare our students to be global leaders in our economy and in different industries. But this is not what we want as parents. And it seems very obvious that the board has not talked to the community and asked what we want as.
All right. Thank you, Rosie. Anne, will you call up our next speakers?
Yes, our last four is Susan Custer, Emily Wichman, Katie Taylor, and Graham Frazier.
Good evening, Susan. You're up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Susan.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm wondering, first of all, if you could tell me how many members of the community are on this Zoom call? Is there any way you can let me know that?
I'll tell you it's 97.
97? Thank you. Tonight, I'd like to talk about school choice. Due to the low test scores, all of the school closures, mandates, and inherently divisive concepts being taught in the public schools, it is time for school choice. The primary purpose of the public school system is to educate our children and provide the skills necessary to succeed in life. Because this is not being done, we need the taxpayers' money to follow the child and not the school. We're currently circulating a petition to put school choice on the November ballot. If passed, $14,000 per year would be put into an education savings account for each child if they are not attending public school. This account would be held by the state and could be used for private school, homeschool, charter schools, or parochial schools. Any money that is not used in the current school year would be held in the child's account. Any unspent money would continue to accrue every year while the child is in grades K through 12. After graduating from 12th grade, unspent money can be used for college or vocational training until the age of 30. The ability for parents to choose their child's school will, we hope, improve the public schools. This will encourage the public schools to focus on the children and their education, and we hope end the teaching of inherently divisive concepts which do not belong in the school. Financial impact studies show that after 7% of the students leave public schools, most likely there will be more funding per student available. Also, there'll be no structural impact on the current school system. Today, there's much talk about equity in every aspect of society. The school choice program would ensure more equity in the education of children. With this program, not only would the elite be able to afford private school, but also the financially disadvantaged. At this moment, the wealthy have school choice. With this program, all parents would have school choice. That is true equity. The school board frequently talks about equity, so please help us make sure that all Oceanside children have the equity that is so important to this Oceanside school board. In addition to equity, we no longer want our children in schools teaching inherently divisive concepts. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Our next speaker is Emily Wichman. Hi, Emily.
Hi. I'm talking about the Ethnic Studies Committee. Many of us were very happy to hear about the Ethnic Studies Committee starting in January. I have not been contacted on the date and time, but I understand it will be a digital on the 25th of January. The meeting is 2 weeks away. I was also told that we would get a schedule of the meetings. So far, we have not been contacted. John Carroll, Lillian Adams, Willie Buchanan. I'm understanding the way the district is training the new people in transparency and to follow through. 20 years ago, the district lost 8,000 kids. Since that time, the district has lost 8,000 kids and added more administrators, yet functions ineffectively. What is wrong with the newer system that's in place? I realize that there are many unpredictable situations that's happened in this past year and a half, but to paralyze our bright and best administrators from getting their jobs done is a disservice to our students. Teachers seem to be on committees and collaborating with each other. As community members, we also are able to attend meetings and collaborate with the district. Please be transparent and welcoming to those who are not employed by the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Katie Taylor. Good evening, Katie. Katie, are you there? I see your name on the screen.
Okay, good evening.
Hello.
And Superintendent Vitelli, the following is outstanding leadership in education from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Office of the Governor, Executive Order Number 1, 2022, ending the use of inherently divisive concepts including critical race theory, and restoring excellence in K-12 public education in the Commonwealth. By the virtue of authority vested in me as governor, I hereby issue this executive order to ensure excellence in K-12 public education in the Commonwealth by taking the first step on day one to end the use of inherently divisive concepts, including critical race theory, and to raise academic standards. The future of the Commonwealth of Virginia is chiefly dependent on the education of our children. Education has a life-shaping power. Our education system should install Virginia students in love for lifelong learning to ensure they become their own best teachers. We must enable our students to take risks, to think differently, to imagine and to seek conversations regarding art, science, and history as a place where they have a voice. Political indoctrination has no place in our classrooms. The vast majority of learning in our schools involves imparting critical knowledge and skills in math, science, history, and reading, and other areas that should be non-controversial. Inherently divisive concepts like critical race theory and its progeny instructs students to only view life through the lens of race and presumes that some students are consciously or unconsciously racist, sexist, or oppressive, and other students are victims. This denies the students the opportunity to gain important facts, core knowledge, formulate their own opinions, and to think for themselves. Our children deserve far better from education than to be told what to think. Instead, the foundation of our education system should be built on teaching our students how to think for themselves. Virginia must renew its commitment to teaching our children the value of freedom and the thought of diversity of ideas. We must equip our teachers to teach our students the entirety of history, both good and bad. From the horrors of slavery and segregation and the treatment of Native Americans to the greatest generation against the Nazi Empire, the heroic efforts of the Civil Rights Movement, and our country defeated the Soviet Union of communism. We must provide our students with the facts and the context to understand these important events. Only then will we realize Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. We will not judge by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. The Constitution of Virginia requires the governor shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. It further provides the right to be free from governmental discrimination on the basis of religion, conviction, race, color, sex, critical race theory, and related concepts are teaching our children to engage in the very behavior that.
Thank you, Katie. All right, our last speaker tonight is Graham Fraser. Hello, Graham.
Hi again, guys.
Hi.
I'm sorry you didn't understand my previous comment on the property issue. I feel they threw away many thousands of dollars, but that's the way I guess you like to work. My comment tonight is about student performance and progress. Based on the most recent published results from the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress for the California Science Test, CIST for those that know, please let the following sink in. For Oceanside High School, 83% of students fail to meet the standard for science set by the state. 83%. Okay, the average failure for the state is 71%. In other words, the entire system is failing our kids, and in your mindless befuddlement over all the minutiae of the education business that you've been talking about tonight, you just continue to move the chairs around on the Titanic in complete dereliction of your duty to continue to allow this to happen to our kids and to our society. You need to be ashamed. Not once have I seen this board discuss the central issue of performance at the district, where you've got 83% failing in science in the high school. You call yourself board members? You must be so bored that you can't even think. Be aware that this is your report card for the future position in government or elsewhere, and it's a dismal F. I suggest you find another vocation where you can be effective. It's a very sad situation, and especially sad for the kids we have elected you to protect from this evil mistreatment. I'm really ashamed of all of you.